Alright guys, I've got a bit of a different type of review video for you today. The last two reviews I published on my website, I wasn't able to make proper video reviews out of, mostly boiling down to two games not being compatible with the PlayStation TV. I was pretty frustrated about not being able to provide the content on YouTube for you guys, so I came up with an idea. I'm going to give you a review roundup video in this video right here. I'm basically just going to go over the summaries, the pros and cons of each of the two games, and in the description below I will leave links to the actual text reviews on the website if you want some more in-depth information. So without further ado, here is my review roundup of Romancing Saga 2 for the PlayStation Vita and Nintendo Switch, and Tokyo Tattoo Girls for the PlayStation Vita. First on our list is Romancing Saga 2, a multi-platform game for the PlayStation Vita as well as the Nintendo Switch. This is a 1990 Square Enix RPG that never came west until last year. It released on mobile platforms and then was ported to various other consoles like the PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. The basic story premise is that 7 heroes once saved the world and were prophesied to return. When they do return, generation over generation, they revive as demons bent on world conquest. You play the role of the various rulers of the Kingdom of Avalon, generation after generation, as you fight them off and try to protect the world. And that's really the interesting part of the story, the generation aspect. You're not just playing as one character. You play as the King of Avalon, and then his heir, and then his heir, and then his heir, allowing you to see a lot of depth and a lot of different types of characters. By gameplay, Romancing Saga 2 is a turn-based RPG with a few unique elements in the mix. The uniqueness in the game comes mostly from the fact that there are town sim building elements, allowing you to put all of your funds into various parts of your kingdom to give you better items, better skills, and better gear, and the fact that there is a permadeath system. Every character in the game that is playable in your party has a life point system. When they die in battle, they lose a life point. If they lose all of their life points, they are dead forever. Just like certain characters we know from Final Fantasy V and Final Fantasy VII. Bringing in the cons of the game really ties into that town sim building element. The first feature isn't really a con, but rather the fact that it's not explained is. Enemies level up with your party, so the more you grind, the harder the game gets. Just like Final Fantasy VIII, where if you grind everybody to level 100, you're in for probably a final boss fight that's going to last 1 to 2 hours. The less you grind, and the more you put into your funds to get better gear, the easier you're going to have it. But this, along with all of the other different unique gameplay systems, they're not explained to you. You just kind of have to research it, or you suffer the aftermath of grinding for a few hours and having the enemies be extremely difficult. Now, the other con of the game is the difficulty balancing, or lack thereof. When you're going through the game, some dungeons will be easy in some parts, hard in other parts, and some of the dungeons will just be flat out almost impossible to do unless you do a significant amount of grinding or enhancements for your gear. The balancing does not have a flow to it, it's just very random. Now in terms of presentation, the only real difference between the two versions of the game are the loading sequences. The Nintendo Switch loads battle and various other parts of the game significantly faster than the PlayStation Vita does. To give a brief example, when you load a battle, just a random battle, the Nintendo Switch loads the battle in about 1 second, the PlayStation Vita loads it in about 4 seconds. And since we do have a Nintendo Switch version of this game, we should talk about battery life. Very briefly, you're going to get about 5 to 8 hours out of this game depending on your settings. You can pause this if you need it to read through the settings, but on higher settings, 5 hours, and on lower settings you have a record-setting 8 hours on one charge. Now, in conclusion, Romancing Saga 2 is a content-heavy, solid RPG that is going to get you at least 40 hours out of your $15. Mostly brought down by all the gameplay systems that are not explained to you and the fact that the difficulty balancing is so bad. Reviews to Go rates Romancing Saga 2 for the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation Vita an 8 out of 10. Now let's move on to Tokyo Tattoo Girls, which is an NIS America title that I really have been interested in since, well, it got announced for Western release. I just never got around to buying it until now, when the MSRP dropped from $30 to $20. Main premise of Tokyo Tattoo Girls is that there was a catastrophe in Tokyo. All of the survivors, all young females, are imbued with tattoos that grant them magical powers. As they create new crime syndicates, the rest of the world makes an impenetrable barricade to trap them and seal them away from the rest of the world. You play as a tattoo artist teaming up with one of these young girls, aiming to conquer all 23 new crime syndicates, unite everyone, and find a way to escape from the city. And the story is really interesting in its really dark and serious premise, but once you get to the actual dialogue, it completely changes and the setting is just lost and ruined. You go from having a dark situation with crime syndicates to solving crime syndicate wars by talking about porno flicks and fashion. By gameplay, Tokyo Tattoo Girls is a strategy game, like an RTS, sort of like Dynasty Warriors Empires. You invade all these territories, which leads all of the surrounding territories to become hostile towards you. And you got an honor gauge, which is basically your health for the entire game. Whenever someone attacks you, you lose honor. If your honor reaches 0, it is game over. So your task is to use your daily funds as this RTS goes through to recruit new allies, use commands to calm down all of the hostile territories so they won't attack you as often, and to create new tattoos on your partner to increase their power so they'll conquer territories faster, recruit faster, and all around just take over the entire city faster. And recovering focus is tied to the boss fight system. Whenever you completely take over a territory, you challenge that territory's crime boss to a fight. And by fight, I don't really mean fight as in a boss fight. You go and start arguing and have 3 dialogue choices, kind of like in Dating Simulator or other visual novels. No matter what choice you choose, you cannot lose. You automatically win no matter what. But if you choose some of the better choices, you will gain back some of your honor gauge as a result. Despite how unique this strategy element sounds and the fact that there are 23 areas to conquer, this game is not a very long game. On the easier normal difficulties, I would be surprised if you spent more than 2 to 2.5 hours on a single run through the game. You might be able to squeeze 3 to 4 hours if you're on the harder difficulties. But all in all, there is just a lack of length and a lack of difficulty to the game. We'll touch on controls before we wrap this up. First of all, the box art for the game advertises it as a PlayStation TV compatible game. At launch, it didn't work on the PlayStation TV. 2 months later, when they had plenty of time to issue a patch to fix this, it still doesn't work on the PlayStation TV, so that box art is effectively a case of false advertising. On top of that, there are a lot of controls in the game. Well, actually, all of the controls in the game are not explained to you at all. You don't know how to do anything. You don't even know there are touch controls. You just are thrown into this real-time strategy game. You're getting attacked while you're mashing buttons trying to figure out how everything works. In conclusion, Tokyo Tattoo Girls is a game with an interesting premise, but pretty much everything else that fails to live up to that premise. From the conflicting story and the lack of PlayStation TV support, to a lot of other aspects that just bring the game down. It's a disappointing experience and probably shouldn't be bought unless it's on a sale even below that $20 price tag. Reviews to Go rates Tokyo Tattoo Girls a 4 out of 10. As I said earlier, check the description below if you would like more information on these reviews, because I have links to the full in-depth text reviews on the website, or you can just pop the link to my website in your browser at www.reviewstogo.com.